Oh, hi, you guys. That was a new one. I was seeing that for the first time myself. Wow, Diego, you are awesome. You make me better than I deserve to be. Certainly better than than in my own brain I would ever be able to do. So thank you so much, Diego, for all you're doing. Hi, you guys. Hi, Jan. I saw you very first right off the bat. Hi, Joseph. And Jan, what is our subject tonight? Tonight is whatever questions you have. We don't have a pre-agenda tonight. So if you have any questions you've been wanting to ask any of you guys, please feel free to do that because tonight was really about making sure that we're again talking about the things that you guys want to talk about and the subjects you guys want to cover. So, hi, Julia. Love the cover photo of the faces of Beverly. It definitely is showing my personality, that's for sure, that laughing. And I always have such a great time when we're together, though. It's just a highlight, and I really love being with you guys. So anyway, it's great. Yes, Jan, come up with a good one. That's great. Hi, Ricky Z. How are you today? And Amy? Hi, Amy. Off topic, but I literally just finished watching Bluey's, a cartoon new episode, and I am in tears. That was well written. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm only familiar with Bluey's because I don't have any kids, so therefore I don't have any grandkids. And so I knew about that show when we were casting for Unsung Hero. And yeah, so I've never watched it. Hi, Adam. I hope to see you both at ICFF. I know it's rare, but I'm actually not going this year. And I know that is kind of unique, but this year I had both the Blue Ridge premiere in Nashville, and then 2 weeks later the Unsung Hero premiere in Nashville again. And it's just been a lot of travel back to back with short stints in between. And so it just wasn't the right year for me this time around to be able to put another trip in there. I figured at some point I have to actually do my job and work and earn some income. So this go around, we had to hold back just this once. So, but for all of you who are going, I'm excited for you. And I hope that you find it very helpful and enjoyable. Hi, Candace. Hi, dear Candace. Anne Marie, just joining after my steel pan bee. I don't know what that is. Maybe you can explain that to me. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're joining us. Let's see. Charles Babbler. Hi, Charles. How are you? So Amy, the Unsung Hero premiere was awesome. It was great. It was so fun. I hadn't seen those cast members since we first did our castings, and some of them I hadn't met actually physically in person because we did live Zoom calls, but we didn't necessarily meet in a room in person, especially because several of the kids were actually from Australia. So it was not conducive to having in-person auditions for that, which again, that's another sort of conversation about the idea of casting tapes and being open to in-person casting and just sort of the balance of that. So I think we'll find the balance. I think we'll find the balance, and certainly find the balance of kind of live Zoom auditions as an option, as an alternative to self-tapes. That I think is where the balance will come between those two things. But anyway, so I got to see them, and oh gosh, they're just such a great cast, such a great group. And saw Terrio Quinn. Terrio Quinn is just a consummate professional. What a humble, kind man he is. No ego, just the brightest smile. He, to me, in Unsung Hero, is kind of the consummate grandfather that, we all either hopefully had in our lives or wish we had in our lives, but he's great. And yeah, just really a fun time. A lot of people that from previous projects. So, the Irwin brothers, or Andy Irwin and Kevin Downs. And so we go way back, all the way back to October Baby. And so that was wonderful. Lee Allen Baker was with us. We went, and her husband, and Terry Middleton, who was the costume designer. She did such a great job, you guys. If you see the movie, which I hope you do, because obviously we could really use the support this coming weekend. But if you see it and you notice how great the costuming is, send a message to Terry and encourage her, because she did a beautiful job, as did everyone on the crew. And Johnny Durango, who is the DP, it was I think my first time working with him, but he did a wonderful job. Anyway, it's really special, and it opens. There's some pre-screenings tomorrow, and then in some cities where they've made it available early, and then the official opening is Friday the 26th. So yeah, Friday the 26th. So love to have you see it sometime this weekend, because those opening weekend numbers do make a difference, as to the support from other studios, and in general support of the films we want to see. So hi John Marcuso, Holloway Nation, I love it. Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, knee surgery. That is not fun. That can be really tough. I hope you're doing okay. I've been alongside two different family members who had knee surgeries, and it is not an easy thing. So if you guys think about it, pray for John and his recovery from knee surgery, and I hope it goes smoothly for you. But I'm glad you're here with us despite that. So Robert K, hi. Jenny Lamb, great to see you. Hi, Casey Morlett. Okay, Joseph, let's see. Joseph Perez, I was told recently a casting director wanted me to stay in touch regularly. Honestly, I'm nervous on what is appropriate. Just saying hi and updates on my acting is appropriate. What would you want to be sent, and how frequently? Quarterly? Okay, so first of all, it's always a good thing when they say, let's keep in touch, because that you're getting permission to reach out to them and keep in touch. And so when you send an email, whatever tool they gave you through which you could communicate with them, whether it was an email address or a website address, a message, some sort of, message opportunity, do that, whatever they gave you to communicate. I would say quarterly is about right, or maybe every couple of months, and certainly when you have something to communicate. So it could be that you sent them a message a month ago, and then you got a new gig, and you want to tell them, hey, I just got booked for this job, and you're really excited about it, or whatever that news may be. Then go ahead and send it, even though it's only been a month, because you have a reason to. But typically I would say every couple of months, or maybe yes, once a quarter. And you can just say, hey, you mentioned keeping in touch, so I'm following up, and ask them how they're doing. Ask them if they're comfortable with you asking how you might support them, or pray for them, or just encouraging them. It's nice when it's a two-way conversation, and not just, hey, it's me, I want you to book me. I'm here because I want a job. It's more of a, hey, I'm happy to keep in touch. Hope you're doing well. Maybe you noticed a project that they did that you thought was really good, or you just watched one of their projects. Message them then and say, hey, I just watched your film or your show or your webisode XYZ, and want to just tell you I loved it, and I thought you did a beautiful, that's great. We honestly don't get a ton of that, and it's really a kind way to stay in touch. It's a very two-way collaborative way to stay in touch. So I would encourage you to be mindful of that. But yeah, if that person told you, if that casting director told you, let's stay in touch, then you are getting the green light to do that. And I think your instincts are about right. Every couple months, or when you have something significant to tell them, or when you've watched some of their work and you want to just give them a kudos. So, let's see. Yeah, you guys are gonna have a great time at ICFF, Adam. I know. I've always enjoyed seeing you at ICFF and, the chats at Starbucks right there, but, you'll have a great time. I know you will. Um, Anne Marie, hi there, Bev. Just joining after my gospel steel pan worship band. Oh, I played tenor, learning this fabulous instrument. 61 years young. I love that. What a blast. I'm the only white girl in the front row. I love that. Well, you're probably learning from the best, and I love that you're doing that, that you're trying something new and learning something new. That is inspiring to me. So you go, girl, you have fun. What a great different kind of skill set to learn. That's great. Um okay, so Joseph, we got your question, I think. Um Ricky, I hope you've been great. I've changed my profile picture to my current headshot I took last week. How may I, sorry, I have my screen positioned really weird so that let me change that. How may I submit my portfolio to your agency based in Chicago? So I'm not an agency. So I am a casting director, but I'm not a talent agent. I don't keep talent. I don't have talent that I represent or manage. And so I'm the wrong person for that. You would do that and submit that. If you're looking for representation, you would submit that to a prospective talent agent or talent manager. Being a casting director, I will put out um, breakdowns for each project that I am working on as I'm working on them. And then you or your agent or your manager or all three, it doesn't matter to me if all three people submit, but you would submit to that breakdown that I put out. And that's when I would take a look at your materials and at your submission. So until then, um, except in the case like Joseph said, where we've met and I'm saying, hey, let's keep in touch. You'll just wait until there's a submission for a project I'm working on, because as you can imagine, there's no way for me to remember every actor I ever meet, every type, every person when I'm not working on a role where they fit, because I've got to concentrate on the roles that I'm casting and the types that I need at the moment. And it's just too much, too broad to try to remember every actor when I don't have a relevant project or role available at that moment. So, but if you're speaking about wanting to try to get representation, then yeah, you would try to reach out to potential talent managers or talent agents. Yeah, so let me see. Ricky. Okay. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm not seeing your full headshot, of course, but it looks like, from what I can see, it looks like it's a good headshot for you, though. I mean, what I'm seeing looks good, so that's nice. So good job on that. Whoever you did your headshots with, nice job. Um, let's see, Rebecca Rogers Nelson, here, Unsung Hero was amazing. You did. Oh, thank you, Rebecca. I loved working on that project. One, because I just loved the story. Everyone, has family um, and a mom or brothers and sisters or a dream. So it's so universal as far as the subject matter of the story. I can't imagine anyone who couldn't relate on some level, because they're also talking about, having nothing and relying on God for literally every penny. And just sometimes when we make mistakes and we lose our sight on God's covering and God's protection for us and God's direction, and we lose sight of that, we start to rely on ourselves and things go a little haywire, and there's just so much you can relate to in the story. So I sincerely think you guys will really enjoy it. It's great music, some really fun 90s music in there as well. And um Kiralee Berger, who plays Rebecca St. James, she does well. All the kids do all of their own singing, and but she's especially highlighted because the story highlights Rebecca's first coming into singing and starting to write her own music, and then that journey for her. And she Kirli does all of her own singing, and it is just beautiful, just beautiful. And again, just a really wonderful human being. So I'm excited for you guys to see these cast members and just get to know them because they're so talented. That's why I really love what I do, because I get to meet and experience so many talented people, talented actors. So yeah, I think when you see the movie, you'll know why I love them so much. So, but I love every cast I get to be a part of bringing together. It just so happens to be right now that the ones who are most forward are Blue Ridge cast and Unsung Hero. So it's super exciting. Let's see. Hi, Brooklyn. I got the pleasure of being on Brooklyn's podcast this or recording it with them just yesterday, actually. We had a nice conversation, and I really enjoyed that, Brooklyn. So thank you for letting me join you guys. Her podcast is called Consider the Lilies. And Brooklyn, if you want to put in the notes where people can see it and listen to it, do that, and we'll do a shout out and let everyone know where they can listen in on your podcast. It's their 3rd season. So woohoo, good for you. That's awesome. Anne Marie, October Baby was just amazing. I really enjoyed that film. It was my first time working with the Irwin brothers, and it was my first time. That's when I met Sherry Rigby, and she's now a dear friend and just someone I love. And it was a really wonderful experience, and yeah, great memories with that one. Okay. Joseph. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, that's great, Ricky. I'm glad that answered. Joseph, you're saying Philippians 4:13. Will you write out what Philippians 4:13 is? It's tough for me right now well, I could look it up. Yeah, just write out what that is, and I'd love to know, because my favorite life verse or verses is Philippians 4, 6, and 7. So I'm not remembering what comes after that. So anyway, Brooklyn, Unsung Hero is a beautiful story and film. Thank you for letting me sit with you for an early screening at ICVM. Yeah, we did have that opportunity at ICVM. And that was special because, yeah, at ICVM, there were so many friends and colleagues. And so to be able to share that with them was wonderful. Lance Nichols. Okay, you guys. And I didn't mean to skip over you, Suzanne. Suzanne Jennings. Okay. Oh, of course. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. Yeah, that's a great verse. Joseph. Thanks for that reminder. I appreciate that. A reminder I know I can use, and I'm sure all of us can use. Suzanne, it's great to see you, and great to have you on here. So good to see your name and your face. It might be tiny, but it is there. Okay, Lance Nichols. So Lance is an incredibly talented actor who I've known for almost, I'd say, a good 25 of my, if not longer, maybe 27, but at least 25 years of my 30-year career. I've known Lance. It started when we did a children's series called Time Changer, I think it was. And we cast him as a preacher of a church that ends up getting burnt down. And it was so fun. We got to work we were doing a gospel choir in the episode, and our gospel choir director was a guy from a local church that I had run into. And then later we ended up working with Kirk Franklin, which was amazing. So anyway, I've known Lance that long, and it's been so fun. But Lance, we've now had several projects we've gotten to work together on. And Lance is based in New Orleans, although he lived in LA and worked in LA for years and years and years until he went back to New Orleans, which is where he's from, to care for his elderly parents or his mother. You can remind me, Lance, if it was both your parents, but I know you were there caring for your elderly family members. And then he ended up just staying and has been staying and working there ever since. There was a point at which New Orleans kind of popped up as, again, a sort of second Hollywood hub. And we're going to talk with Lance. Lance is going to join us next week. Lance is also on the board of SAG, or was. I don't know if you still are, Lance, but at one point you were on the board, the local board in New Orleans of the New Orleans chapter of SAG. So he's a great resource for that as well. I know sometimes you guys have questions regarding SAG and thoughts about that. And so we can have that conversation. So yeah, look up on IMDb or IMDb Pro, look up Lance Nichols and check out his resume. And then we're going to talk more extensively next week with him. And you are going to love him. He's a teacher, an acting teacher. He is an incredible TV film. He was on Treme for several seasons, and he's just getting back. Literally, I think he said 1:30 in the morning from doing a stage show on the East Coast. So he's very versatile. So anyone, if you're curious about that transition or going back and forth between stage and then TV and film, Lance will be a great resource for that as well. I love him. He's a great friend, a great human being, just a vast, um, unique, diverse set of experience, being both stage, film, TV, being based in New Orleans, but having worked a long time in LA. So I'm excited for you to hear from him. So think ahead. I really would encourage you to look up his IMDb or IMDb Pro and get familiar with his credits, and then that'll maybe bring up questions for you to ask him next week. So love you, Lance. I'm so excited to have you next week. And let's see, Ivy Jones. Hi, Ivy. Hi. Oh, that's right. You're in DC. So Ivy, if I remember right, you're originally from Charlotte. We got to see you at the Charlotte Creative Exchange, which was so fun. You're in DC working at Museum of the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, right? You're doing Lion Witch in the Wardrobe for them. And remind me which role you're doing and if that is correct. The information I'm giving you is correct. But I believe that's what she's doing in DC currently. And I have not yet been to the Museum of the Bible, but what I've seen of it and other people's posts and comments and things, it looks amazing. It looks absolutely beautiful. So one of these days I will get there, which will be great. Jared Hernandez, what kind of crew jobs should actors look for in between bookings? Any opportunity to be on set is going to be good for you. You're going to learn from all of it. And you guys know my story. I started off just being a PA. During production, I started off as a PA, and then John Schmidt, that filmmaker, who now teaches at Biola University, by the way. But he started me in casting because that's where he needed some help. But in between casting, I just did whatever. I was an office PA or worked wherever I was needed. So I'd say any experience you get to be on set, to not only observe the other actors, observe the ADs, just to be in the environment is advantageous. So I think the more you do it, you may find those things that are more your specific skill set, and more of your niche. And you may find that doors open in those places. That's how I got into casting. God just kept opening certain doors that I would walk through, and it led to what is now a 30-year career. So yeah, any chance you have, Jared, is good. You meet people, and it is a business where relationships can make a very big difference. Just because it's a hard environment to work in. Making films is hard. It's hard work. People want to work with people that they trust, people that they like, that they enjoy spending time with, people that they can count on to do what is needed, whether you're an actor or you're working as a part of the crew. They just need to know that when it's time for you to step up to the plate, doing whatever task you're doing, that you're ready, you have a great attitude. And so meeting whoever in any role is fantastic. It's wonderful. Okay. Jan, that's sweet. You guys are people too. We are. We are. And it's nice when it's a two-way communication and two-way relationship, and, we're each encouraging each other. So, yeah. Diego, one of the most effective ways to also be on the radar is actively engaging on social media that isn't spamming. It's true. Liking, commenting, choosing to be an active participant. It is very, very true. Our little family here, I know you guys. I get to know you and I see your names, and then there's an association there, and I see your questions, and that's great. I feel like we're having a two-way conversation. So I love that. I really do love that. And this is a wonderful way, myself and anybody else who is, doing things like this. It's a real honest and easy way to connect together and sort of, as John Marcuso says, become our Holloway Nation, or our Let's Talk Tuesday family. So it's a really nice, I'm really loving it. I'm really loving having conversations with you guys. Let's see. Suzanne. Okay, so great. Oh, it's your first time, Suzanne, to go to ICFF. It'll be easy to get overwhelmed because there's a lot of screenings, and then there's workshops, but there's always a great community of people, many of whom you probably know, and you'll have so much fun seeing them. And Adam, you guys will get to see each other, so that's great. You're going to have a wonderful time. I'm glad you're going. Okay, Ricky Zumat, I do want to apply for the VO role of the chosen cartoon. Did you initially submit to that? I haven't put out a new submission request, but let me know if you originally submitted, and I'll go make sure that I saw it, and that I can do, I'll just take a look. So let me know if you did submit already, and I'll go back and find it. Brooklyn. Yes, Diego is good at giving freebie advice. Yeah, it's just about encouraging each other. Hi, Sam. Good to see you. And Jan, so both you and your agent can submit. Yes. I'll just tell you how it works with Breakdown Express. If you submit and an agent and a manager, they'll come up side by side. And so then I just click on whichever one I want to use as the contact for that particular submission. So it's no big deal if it's duplicated, because the way I organize it alphabetically. And so as I'm reviewing them, all three of them will come up side by side. That's why I don't review submissions chronologically. I do it alphabetically. But when I send out audition requests, and then I send out like audition requests for tapes, I will watch those as they come in chronologically. So I don't wait until they're all in and then start watching. I will watch them pretty quickly once they're in. So, let's see. Oh, Candice, thank you. I'm really proud of the film. I'm really proud of the film and proud of everyone involved, and really good people. I just want to tell you, getting to know several of the Smallbone family were involved in the making of the film, but I most heavily dealt with Luke and Joel, and then eventually have seen Rebecca quite a bit recently. But Luke and Joel are tremendous leaders, humble leaders, collaborative. Um, it's always wonderful when you're working with people that you've looked up to or have been inspired by, when what you find out about them only enhances your positive feelings towards them. And Luke and Joel were exactly that. And then Joel's co-director, Richard Ramsey, again, that Richard and Joel worked so well together, and in many ways they were symbiotic and it worked great. In other ways, they were great counters to each other, not just creatively, but just energy wise too. They kind of offset the other. And as you can imagine, Joel tends to be like, he's a big dreamer, and high energy and lots of creative thoughts. Richard is sort of a more sit back and process what's being said and what's being talked about, calmer, and then he'll share his thoughts. So it's a very different vibe, but they worked great together. They were very complementary that way. And then Luke was, obviously he and his brother have worked together for years, and they know how to communicate, and kind of each of them has their place in that relationship. And so he was fantastic as well. It was really a joy. And then Josh Walsh was the main producer. And man, I admired him. Josh used to be with Kingdom Story. And so Josh did I Can Only Imagine, Woodlawn, and speaking of Woodlawn, if any of you saw Woodlawn, the football movie from them, Lance Nichols played the father of the main character in Woodlawn. But Josh Walsh he is so kind and so gracious towards his crew and the people working with him, but he's also has very high expectations, and applies pressure in a way that is effective, but not overbearing or angry or any of that. He's just a wonderful, wonderful leader, and I can't say enough great things about him. He's great. So yeah. Okay. Let's see. Amy, loved your idea of a vision board. I've been working on one. It's already helping me to focus most of the things that matter most. I just for whatever reason had clicked on my past video where I was showing you the beginnings of my vision board stuff. And I thought, okay, I need to follow up and have a week where we show our vision boards, or at least what we have so far. And kind of like we do with the monologues, maybe choose 4 or 5 of you who are willing to share yours and have that conversation. So I'd love to do that. I'll talk with Diego about setting a specific date for that. And then those of you who maybe have made your vision boards or are venturing into that can, if you're willing to share with us, we'd love to talk through that with a few of you. So Diego and I will figure out where we can put that on the calendar. And then we'll post that. And if you're willing, then you can just email him and see if the dates work out to do that. So yeah, it's been great for me as well, Amy. It just is being specific, and it's a good challenge for me, certainly. CW Charlie Johnson, you can remember me as the guy who coaches and the like have said would do well playing crazy dudes and psychopaths. I promise I won't unalive anyone. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Charlie. It's good to have that context before I see your work or, any of your crazy portrayals, for sure. Suzanne and Rebecca Rogers, you guys obviously were connecting before, which is awesome. Yeah, Diego, you're right. It's a great story. Cinematography is it's beautifully shot. Music is so wonderful. And yeah, I love that. But I love music, a lot of music. So that 90s music, there's some Striper, and it's a blast. It's great. Hi, Delana. How are you? It's been good seeing you. You're busy and seeing you on set doing some things. So that's great. Emily, I'm sorry that they wouldn't load the video. And Carrie, that's okay. I'm answering questions. And of course, I have a rogue hair that wants to stick out. That's okay. You can always go to my YouTube page. It's just Beverly Holloway. And all of our past Tuesday nights are on there. All of them. I think there's like 48 or 49 of them now. So feel free, if you've ever missed anything, feel free to go back and watch that. Share those YouTube links on your pages. That would be helpful, just as we get more people aware of that YouTube page and that all of that is there. And that would be great. That'd be helpful. But just know that if you've ever missed one of these or gotten there late, you can always go back to that. Let's see. Charlie Johnson, I was roommates with Josh Walsh before he started producing films. I was just a dumb redneck from the backwoods of Louisiana, and this guy from Florida comes walking in talking about he got paint on his design. on his designer jeans. That is so funny. It's funny because if you know Josh Walsh, he does always look very sharp. He may just have on, jeans and usually like a sport jacket, but he always does look very well tailored and put together. So I can imagine that being the case. Um, yes, that verse, Joseph, is wonderful. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Hi, Stephanie, Carolyn, Jan. I'm feeling silly. I'm sitting here with my tote bag that has an exact scriptures, and I didn't know the chapter and verse. That's me. I hear you. Okay, so let me see. With the during the Joey Cox, during the casting process specifically, your perspective, how impactful is it if you see that an actor has a co-guest star role credit on their resume for something you are casting as opposed to maybe only commercial credits or no guest star roles in film TV yet? In other words, if the audition is strong and there, how much does the resume impact your thoughts as to if they should be considered for the role? Okay, sorry, I was a little rough reading that, but when you say for something you are casting, you mean just I'm not looking for credits for you to have had a credit in something, a previous credit in something I'm casting, because obviously then I would already know you. But um, I'll tell you, performance always trumps everything. So I am not going to cast an inferior actor who happens to have more TV or film credits just because of their credits. And conversely, if someone's really great, then their credits don't become as important. It's when people are really equal in the process and you're having to break the tie. You have two people who are great and you can only choose one, obviously. If all things are absolutely equal by the end of the process, the initial tapes and then any callbacks and any callbacks or Zoom calls, any of that, if they're absolutely equal, then experience at that point could break the tie. And there's really nothing you can do about that. And the only reason it would break the tie is because having those past credits can communicate to us you have the experience of working on set at kind of a certain pace, that you have already had that experience and it's not going to be totally new to you, and you won't be easily overwhelmed by something being new. If your resume doesn't have those kinds of credits yet, there's a little bit of a hesitancy possibly in that. Are you going to get there and get overwhelmed? Are you going to get there and know what you need to do and just be able to jump right in? Or are you going to have kind of a learning curve in the beginning of the day? Anything you can be doing to eliminate that thing when you show on set, just when you show up on set, go look at the set, get yourself familiar, get yourself the noise and the pace and all of that, just sort of soak that in and take it in and get your energy set right. Pray, all of those things prior, so that when you are called to set and need to be ready to work, you are ready to work. Because those are the things that will make a director hesitant to maybe hire you again if they had this sense that it took you a while to warm up and maybe they lost some timing or some pacing. You want to come in as if this is your 100th job and you got it handled. So that's the only reason I would say someone's credits would kind of beat you out if everything else is the same. Oftentimes, that's not the tiebreaker in the process. Through a initial self-tape and then a callback or a chem read, it becomes much more obvious who creatively just is a better fit for the role. And that's usually the thing that kind of trumps everything. But I'd say on some occasions it could make a difference. Let's see. Let's see. Thank you. What are your thoughts about using an opposite gender character for a monologue? It's fine if it's appropriate, if it's one of those monologues or one of those characters where it can go male, female. I think it's the same as like when you're singing music, sometimes it's just universal, so it won't matter. I wouldn't do anything where you're gender bending it. And what I mean by that is kind of if you're if you're a man playing it feminine, or because it was originally done by a woman, sort of gender bending that. But if it's a monologue that is universal and you can change just a few of the lines or the gender within the monologue, um, and the purpose, the intent, the character remains the same, then I think that works great. There's no problem. Oftentimes we won't know unless you're using a piece that's very well known. Um, I Now, having said that, I wouldn't necessarily do that with really iconic performances. So what comes to mind um, is Devil Wears Prada, the Meryl Streep role. I mean, yes, technically, I guess you could change some of her big monologues to a male, but it wouldn't feel right. It would feel odd, and I don't think it would be appropriate. I don't think that piece works that way. And so I would be cautious on any very iconic roles like that, where you're making such a big change and trying to flip it that way. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I'd be careful about some of those more iconic kinds of performances and roles, um, so that the flipping it doesn't become distracting. If we don't know the piece and we don't know whether it was male or female originally, then I'm not going to be preoccupied with the change. But if it's something I know really well, and then I might. So just be careful. Just be careful. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying be careful if it's a really well-known piece. Um, Yes, Brooklyn, allergies have been rough. Diego and I were just talking about that. Joey, I have a decent amount of commercial credits, few short film principal credits, but growing the film TV side, getting a lot of co and guest star auditions now. That's great. But I always curious how CDs view. If you're getting the auditions, then if you're getting audition requests, then their initial reaction is not negative. So then it's just up to you to bring the performance. So they're not going to turn down a great performance simply because you don't have the same amount of credits as the other person or other people they're considering. So performance trumps all. That's what you got to do. Just focus on the performance, focus on just bringing your very best, bringing who you uniquely are to that role, and then let it go. Do your best, then let it go. Yes, Emily, Lance will be on next week's live, and he's awesome. Awesome. Okay. Candace Kirkpatrick, how does one find out about the chosen cartoon VO auditions? I'm also a VO actor and have done audio dramas, audiobooks, and narration. Would love to find out how to audition. Okay. So I am not involved in that at all. And so I don't know. I know that the breakdowns were put out. Now, I don't know if they put them out because I'm not involved. I don't know if they put them out to Actors Access and to agents, but I know it did go out on breakdowns. The casting director, I am not remembering. He's a very, very well-known animation voiceover casting director. And for whatever reason right now, I am not thinking of his name. So I'll try to remind myself what his name is and let you guys know and post that, and try to post that in the comments of this live, or just make a post for you guys on my page. But I'm just not remembering the name of his name. It's a male casting director. He's pretty iconic in the world of animation and voiceover casting. So, yeah, I don't know that, and I know breakdowns went out. I just don't know if they went out to Actors Access. So you might have to ask your agents to check that, and to check. It would have been, gosh, It could have been a good 6 weeks ago. So that's why I'm not really sure if it's still active or kind of where they are in that process, but it would have maybe have them look past in the past. Um, yeah, but I'll try to get that information for you. Okay. Somewhere in my notes, I have his name written down, but I can't locate it right now. So, um, Jared, we answered that one. Diego, we did answer that one. Let's see. Can you give us a quick, Elizabeth, can you give us a quick rundown on a general slate for Actors Access? Um, Most casting offices will tell you what they want in the slate and just do what they tell you. Every casting office, typically for me, I'm looking for name, usually asking where you're based, just so that I have an understanding of how close you are to where we're filming. But if other cast direct if they're not asking about that because it doesn't matter, then, you don't need to say that. We only need age if you're under 18. Otherwise, you can just if it's something where they want to know, are you over or under 18, just say you're over 18 if you in fact are. And if you're under 18, that's when you need to slate with your specific age. I almost always ask for height, and that's because um, when you're trying to build an ensemble and you're trying to build characters that will work opposite of each other, heights matter and balance visually. There's not necessarily a right or a wrong height, but we need to understand, like if we cast a man who's 6'4", we probably aren't going to cast a 5-foot woman opposite, because that is a hard thing to do logistically for the camera to get two shots. Literally, one could be down here off camera while the other's here, and we need to get them to where it's a little better matchup. And it's a pain for them to have to do like apple boxes and lifts for every single shot and make it look right. So we ask for heights just so things can be compatible. Sometimes if there is a really specific height issue, we'll put that and build that into the breakdown. So just pay attention to those things. But those are the things that I generally ask for in slates. But whatever the casting director tells you, do that. And really, really, you guys pay attention to that. I do get frustrated. One of my pet peeves, I have this sign. Hold on. It says, please stop petting my peeves. And so one of my pet peeves is for me to give you direction about specifically what I want, whether I want the slate at the front or at the end, the information I want from your slate. And then I get tapes back with no slate, or they just have typed in like the information in the box, but there's no slate. And the reason that's frustrating to me is because, yes, you could type that in your notes, but those notes don't carry forward when I'm forwarding that tape to producers and directors. Like when I forward the selects, they don't get those actor notes when I'm forwarding that. So I have to type out that information again so that they will get that when they're looking at your tapes. The reason we want slates is because we want it with the tape so that when we forward it, then the director and producers also have the information they need. So we aren't asking for this stuff just like because we felt like it that day. We're asking for it specifically. There are reasons why we say slate at the beginning of the tape or at the end of the tape, whatever that case may be. And we're not asking you to put that information in the notes of your tape. That doesn't work for us. It makes more work for us. And quite honestly, it makes me frustrated because I don't understand why you're not just following directions. I don't know why you're not. So many times they don't give all the information on that I requested on the slate. So I oftentimes will say, where are you based? And then let me know if you are able to work locally to like wherever the case may be. And the reason I'm asking that is that I don't know if you were originally from Tulsa, Oklahoma, you still have your family that lives there and you have complete access to work local in Tulsa because you have an address there and a car and a way to get to from, that kind of thing. I don't know that. So that's why I'm asking. But someone will say, well, I'm living in Dallas, Texas. Okay, great. But do you have any connection to Tulsa, Oklahoma? And if you don't, you just say, no, it's not going to keep you from getting the role. I'm asking just because it's important information to us as we're casting, because the financial pie, is constantly changing and moving as to a role that we didn't think was going to have to be local. Turns out it is for budgetary reasons, or vice versa. Maybe we found one of the leads locally and it opened up other opportunities for us to travel in a character we actually didn't think we would originally. And so we just need the information. If a project or a role has to be local hire, we will tell you if it's local hire required or local hire preferred. And when you see local hire preferred, you can expect that we are going to give favoritism to those who are local hires, but we're not going to compromise the role just to hire local. That's at least when I put local hire preferred, that's what I'm saying is, we really do financially want this role to be local, but the performance is very, very important to us. So anyway, let's see. Oh, Joseph, that's nice. Okay. Bye. Bye, Joseph. He's probably already gone, but that was very, very nice. Um, I'm just I'm just talking and talking, and I finally get the message from Diego. Okay, time to wrap it up. Yeah, Emily, they're doing a version of The Chosen, an animated cartoon version of The Chosen. And I only found out about it gosh, it was when I was still technically working with The Chosen, but it was something they were working on separately. None of the original casting team for The Chosen, the main Chosen show, were involved or are involved in the casting of the animated. They have a specific VO animation specialist. And again, I'll find that name, but yeah, I'll try to get you that information. And then you guys can take it from there as far as your agents or managers or researching what they are doing there. Okay, so I am supposed to wrap it up. I got that sweet little message from Diego. So a couple of things next week. Lance Nichols, he's fantastic. You're going to love talking to him. Look at his IMDb and come up with some great questions, because he is a wealth of information and knowledge, and just a wonderful human being. And I'm super excited for you guys to get to know him a little more and to benefit from his years of wisdom. Emily, got my Focus conference ticket. The panel list looks great. Will you be speaking or just bevving? Emily, you're funny. Yeah, Diego's created this term, bevving, where I'm just talking to people. But yeah, I will be doing a class on self-tapes, and then I'll be on a panel, and then I'll be bevving. A little bit of all three of those things. So I'm looking forward to it, excited about it, and get to go back to Nashville, which I love. So Lance Nichols next Tuesday, and then Unsung Hero this weekend, 24th. In some cities start the previews, which is tomorrow, and then the 26th, Friday 26th, opens everywhere nationwide. And either way you can support it would be much appreciated. And yeah, check out the YouTube page and share the link with your fellow actor creative types, and let them know that all of these past conversations are available to watch. And yeah, so I love you guys. Super excited to see you guys next week. Thanks in advance for your support of Unsung Hero. I honestly and sincerely think you're going to love it. You really are. And it's just to let you know, it's good for all ages. It's literally a family friendly movie. There's 7 kids in the story, and you're seeing them at all from like the age of 4 up through 18, the ages of the kids, or up through 16, the ages of the kids. So your young ones are going to see other kids, and I think really enjoy the story as well. So it really is a family friendly faith movie and journey. So appreciate you in advance supporting that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and whether you liked the movie. So feel free to post that on socials this week or next week when we come together. So love you. And I wish you all a really wonderful week. And just know how special you are, how unique you are. God created you exactly as you are. And so embrace all that is you. And yeah, and I'll go this way. Stop petting someone's peeves. Anyway, I love you. Be awesome. Oh, it's over here. Be awesome. Love you guys so much. And I'll talk to you next week. Bye.